Welcome to Road to Billions podcast, the mentality of an entrepreneur. With your host, Moise Bertrand.
What's up, everybody? It is your host, Moise Bertrand, the Road to Billions podcast. It's been an amazing journey, you guys, and I appreciate every last one of you guys for listening and tuning in on the podcast, which, of course, is a podcast that I invite others to listen to. We have knowledge, we have information, and I just love sharing my personal testimonies with you guys as well. So, recently we had some back and forth hurricanes, and it was kind of detrimental for a lot of people. You get me? Some people died. A lot of people lost homes, personal belongings. So a lot of things were caused during this hurricane. But what do we say about that for real estate investors? How were real estate investors impacted as well during this time of crisis? And just like anybody else, personal home buyers, it's a lot harder, for real estate investors to actually recover from certain things, because sometimes all of our funds are involved in one property, right? It's not like we have a buku amount of money sitting and just sitting there, right? So if a roof repair or new roof is required, since the hurricane just knocked off the whole roof, $10,000, that's your whole year's profit out the window, right? And a lot of people don't realize that a bad year doesn't necessarily mean you have a bad investment or anything. It just means you had that bad year. But a bad year could really turn you upside down real quick, right? So Hurricane Helen, I had a property that got hit by a huge tree limb, right? Got a call. I'm like, okay, what's going on? They went ahead and let me know, hey, listen, this tree limb went through the roof, and it's going to cost us a bit amount of money, because not only, it didn't go like vertically through the roof. It was hit on the side, and then for some odd reason, a tree limb broke off when it hit off the side and did some crazy magic trick, and then went through the roof as well. So think about it again. It's something leaning against the roof on the side, like something slanted, like a ladder, and something else just went through the roof vertically, right? And then now you have a big hole in the roof, and you have the side of the roof damaged. So I couldn't even repair the roof. I couldn't patch it up, right? I had to go ahead and have the whole side of the roof repaired, which was pretty costly. But luckily, I did get a roof job done by someone else. By that same company. So they went ahead and gave me some grace. But evidently, that happens, right? That happens to everybody who invests in real estate, right? The money you make isn't there to spend, sadly. The money you sell is when you get to spend a little bit, and you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But when you have a tenant under your supervision as a real estate investor, you have more of a caution sign, right, above your head, above that property. And the reason for that is because you have a life that's not yours. And even though, like I said, I'm not being biased, I'm not saying if this wasn't my child or wasn't my child, I would treat them both the same way. But it's a different type of responsibility and accountability when you are responsible for other people's livelihood and lives. So I can't bullshit something I can bullshit on my own personal life and do it to somebody else, right? I could probably, let's just say, I broke the toilet, right? I could probably find some other way to use a broken toilet as a guy. But having tenants, I can't have that same free will. I can't be like, I'm going to get it fixed. It doesn't work like that. So, when the hurricane went through the roof, it caused a lot of moisture to build up into the house in that particular room. So I had them shut off the room and also put some towels under there, because when I had them patch it up, it was still days behind, right? I had to wait another 4 days after they patched it up. After they put a tarp over it, because I couldn't patch it up, for them to come back out there, because they had so many jobs to do, so many roofs. And it was a sad sight to see, because I know some people who own property out there as well who's hit way worse than me. I'm talking about way worse. And, a tree limb still did damage to my property, and I felt that, right? So I definitely had myself and gave myself a little bit of grace. But when they got the tree off at first, they went ahead and charged me separate from the roof, and they charged me for the tree as well. Tree cut off and debris hauled off and all that other thing. So they charged me for that. And the roof repair was, like I said, was a second portion of the whole operation. But, I just wanted to make sure my tenant was safe, right? I didn't want her daughter to feel like, damn, like I got this damn hole in my ceiling and I could see the damn sky. Shit could come in here if I'm sleeping at night. And, I told them, hey, listen, don't sleep in here. They weren't going to sleep in there at all. But, just me being a landlord, don't sleep in there. Of course, don't go in that room. Stay far from it. And, they was like, okay, cool, we could do that. So I definitely felt a sense of urgency that was needed from my part, and I took care of it. But hurricanes, man, are one of the worst things to happen to mankind, bro, especially the real estate investors. So the best way to prepare for that, is in a way where you would think that you're preparing for one. Even though you're far away like I am, I'm nowhere near hurricanes. You still want to make sure that house is equipped with what it needs, right? No leaky roofs. Always check the windows, check the foundation, check the plumbing, and obviously check other sides of the house that may be affected. Like if there's any type of openings in the house, like any side holes or anything, critters could come in, start causing some problems, rodents, snakes. You don't know what could come in through the house, so you got to make sure everything's sealed and ducked off. And you don't want anybody who's in the area who's maybe considered squatters or homeless to come into the house as well if you are rehabbing the house. Because there were times where, man, I went to the house I was fixing up and I seen some clothes in a closet. I'm like, this house was supposed to be empty, but they weren't there when I got them. And sometimes I caught people too, and they was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave, because I don't come with that energy. Be like, man, get the fuck out of my house. If I don't do that, I'm like, listen, I understand it's cold. I understand you may not have a place to stay, but at this time, I'm gonna ask you to leave because I am working on this house right now, and I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want anything to happen to you personally, and I'd rather you just be in a more safer area and things like that. And they understand, man. But the hurricane could cause a lot of problems. I'm talking about being backed up, maintenance-wise, work-wise, rehab-wise. Your guy's always going to say, hey, listen, I have another job that's paying me a lot more. And your job may not be as expensive, but it's still expensive. Anything I feel like I'm spending is expensive. You feel me? I'm not cheap, but anything spent is money spent. So they may take another job over yours. I'm not saying your job isn't worth their time, but we all got to be honest in this scenario. So I definitely want you guys to prepare, and if you guys have insurance, which you guys all should have insurance on your properties. And this is my personal opinion. Don't file the claim. And the reason you don't file the claim is because, for one, if you ever do apply for insurance, whenever you're getting a policy or anything or quote, they ask you, have you ever filed a claim in the last 3 to 5 years? Right? They ask you that because look how far they're going back. They didn't ask you, have you filed a quote and have you filed a claim in the last year or two, the last 3 to 5 years. And if you put yes, now you're a red flag for them. They're going to still maybe accept you, right? And then after that, they're going to wax you. So I might be paying $1,200 a year for insurance, but they see that you already filed a claim in the past, so you quote unquote are a liability. And they might charge that same insurance I'm getting right next door to you for $2,500. And what does that mean? That means if you go ahead and you divide that by 12, right? Let's just do this math really quickly for you guys. Let me grab my phone. So let us say you go ahead and get charged $2,500 a year. That's $208 a month in insurance. Let us say all you're doing is profiting $300. Now your insurance went up and you're cooked because you're only profiting $100 now, right? You're charging $1,600 for rent. Your mortgage $1,200. $400 is the difference. Now your insurance is $208. That's $200 profiting. You might be looking at like, damn, like that's a little bit of money. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You can't really do much with that. That's why I'd rather prefer you get to like $350, $400, because you feel it a little bit more, right? You feel it a lot more, and it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but don't file that claim because it's going to raise your policy. It's going to raise your quote per month. It's going to mess with your cash flow. And all of a sudden, every time you try to get a quote, they run your social. They ask you, they just run shit. You feel me? And they're going to find out, and your quote is going to be high. It's like if you get an accident, you feel me, with your car, you're going to have a lot higher quote. So it's definitely something to be mindful of. But by all means, if you don't have the cash to do it, that's a tough pill to swallow because you still have someone's responsibility under your belt. You still have a tenant, right? You still have someone who is counting on you because all they're doing is paying you rent. They don't care how you getting the shit done. They don't care how much things are. They're telling you, hey, listen, there's a damn 12-foot hole, wide hole in my damn ceiling and I could see the damn sky. I need you guys to come fix this. I have a daughter, I have kids, and you definitely feel the pressure. So I would recommend anybody, to whoever gets into real estate, to have some reserves put up, and always make sure you have all the trees around the house and premises cut off, because that's what pretty much cost me a pretty penny. You feel me? And anything else that could probably damage the property, get rid of it. You feel me? Because a lot of people, they underestimate the power of wind and rain. So I tell people all the time, you got to be able to be mindful about what you do in real estate, because it's not an easy industry to get into, and it's not an easy industry to maintain. You feel me? I've been in this industry for 4 years, and the only thing I just tell you is I'm learning something new every day. Something new happens every day. Nothing fails to amaze me. I've seen it all, and I'm still seeing it. You get me? So I'm not someone to tell people or discourage people from chasing real estate. All I'm saying is, if you're gonna do something like this, don't look for a quick flip. Don't look for a quick buck, because this isn't money that's made real fast. Like some people will quote unquote call it get rich quick. No, it's something that is a solid plan to millions, yes. But to get there is a lot of discipline, it's a lot of sacrifice, and it's a lot of just critical thinking and having a plan. And plans don't go always as according as you will want it to be. As bad as all of us have our plans written down, and we all want to see what life has to offer for us in a way we want to picture it, it's still going to give us detours. It's still going to give us obstacles. And that's where real estate comes into play. It's going to give you all those problems. But how do you react? How do you transmute those problems into momentum, into success, into something that could really make you stand out? You get me? Because the hurricane is going to knock a lot of people off the real estate market. Some people are not going to be able to recover from this damages to your house. Some investors may have a horrendous amount of damage that they can't afford on their own, and they may have to sell their properties like it is right now. And you may not be hearing about it, but this is what goes on. And I tell people all the time, there's opportunity in chaos. So right now, you might have a lot of homes that have water damage, right? Water damage, you got to replace the drywall, because it's going to create moisture. It's going to show you the way how far the water rolls up in the house on the walls. And you don't want that. The electrical could be cooked and all that good stuff. So it's a lot of homes, like I'm saying, going on the market after the storm. And that's how it comes out. That's how it definitely comes out. But I want you guys to also pay attention to the areas you feel like is increasing in just population and gentrification, because that's the areas that's going to have them houses that come up, right? Every house that you could think of that was worth $100,000, they're worth $250,000 now, $300,000, and they're going to keep going up, and they're going to keep going up, because real estate is one of those things that never lose value. As bad as people want to say, oh, that house may not appreciate, your house is not going to appreciate because you didn't buy it in the right area. But if you bought it in the right area, you would do great things and have a great amount of success once that house is ready to be sold or anything else. So once again, I appreciate you guys for listening to Roll the Business Podcast. Remember, you can follow the Bright Raven group page and follow about tips and tricks about real estate and stuff. Also, just keeping up with the journey about what I post about real estate. You get me? Because a lot of people want to see the process. A lot of people want to see what goes on and what happens next after next after next. And I constantly tell people, like, hey, listen, just follow the journey. Just ask me questions. Just reach out to me. I'm here to help. And if you can't reach out to me, always reach out to somebody else. I feel like people are a little bit afraid of reaching out to people, but it shouldn't be something you should be afraid of. You're only stupid if you have a question that you don't ask. And that's the only time I call somebody stupid. If you have a question and you're afraid to ask and you don't ask it, I'm sorry, you just lost out on an opportunity that you could have changed your life with. So don't ever hold your mouth, don't ever hold your tongue. And once again, just chase your dreams and believe in yourself. Once again, appreciate you guys for listening to Roll the Business Podcast. It's been an amazing journey.